All right, how you doing?
Good.
First of all, I'd like to ask you, what inspired you to be a counselor?
Oh man, what inspired me to be a counselor? I think definitely my own story is what inspired me. I was challenged or I was exposed to any very much post-secondary options like college and things of that sort. So in 11th grade, I started taking AP classes. But I was also taking regular general education classes, and I realized that there was a big difference in not only the performance of students, but how the opportunities that students were presented in these classes. And I didn't think that was fair. So I chose to be a school counselor because I wanted to make sure that all kids got exposed to all kinds of opportunities, regardless of their performance level or whatever their own experience is.
Okay, all right. And what steps did you take in becoming a counselor? This is for the viewing audience and for young adults who look at being something other than a teacher.
Yeah, so I think my biggest thing, I'll talk about the academic journey of being a school counselor, but I think what made me sure of the career I wanted to choose was experience. So when I went to college, I did my undergrad and was working toward my bachelor's, but a lot of the jobs that I had were working with youth. So I would volunteer at high schools and mentoring high school students and helping them fill out their college applications. I had a job where we would bring in middle school, elementary, and high school students and give them campus tours of the university. And then I took classes in education. So all of my jobs had to do something with education and working with children. And I think that's what really made me sure that I wanted to be in education. As far as like the academic journey and like the academic piece of it, I got my bachelor's degree. And then I moved on and got my master's degree in school counseling with the PPS credential. The PPS credential is ultimately what allows us to be practicing school counselors.
Okay, thank you. Take us through just an average work day.
Man, what is an average work day? I can very confidently say that there is no average work day.
Right.
Every day looks very different. There is always intentional projects that I'm trying to get done. So I'd say it's very seasonal, and it depends on the time of the year, especially because I work at a high school. At the beginning of the year, it's a lot of scheduling. I can either be in the classrooms doing guidance lessons, and guidance lessons, I'm talking to students about their social emotional health, their mental health, their graduation requirements. I'm talking to students about opportunities to be in college. Or I can be in my office and having one-on-one conversations about where students are academically and what they need in order to graduate. I can also be having parent meetings, talking to students to parents about any concerns they have with their child or where their child is academically. So it's a wide variety of things. One thing I can say definitely is that, and I'm sure it happens in many careers, where I have my day planned out and I know what's going to happen, and then none of it gets done. And it can be because I have a crisis. Definitely student interactions or things that are happening on the day-to-day sometimes take priority. But I'll say that there's always intentional projects happening. Every day definitely looks different.
Which would lead us to the next question. I'm going to give the viewing audience a synopsis of where we are. We're at a large high school in one of the largest school districts in California, or in the nation, but we're in California. And so my next, we're to lead up to this question: what are some of the day-to-day challenges that you face in your job?
Some of the day-to-day challenges, I'd say every challenge is different. Ultimately, the biggest responsibility I would say I would carry with myself is helping students envision themselves as having the potential to achieve what they what they want to achieve in the future. That's definitely something that is a beautiful challenge that I strive to achieve every day, I would say. Just in the community where I worked, and not just this community, but most of my career, I worked in low-income communities where most students are first generation to get their high school diploma and would be first generation to go to college. So really building that potential and dealing with whatever, being the first or whatever challenges happen at home, and coaching the students to believe that despite those challenges, there's an amazing future if they can only persist, is probably the biggest like big picture challenge, but it's also the most rewarding when I get to see them achieve it during graduation or post-graduation when I keep in contact with them.
Do you have any likes or dislikes concerning your job?
Absolutely. I think sometimes there can be a lot of clerical work, and being a school counselor, I love interactions with students. I love face-to-face, and that's really why I'm in the job. But in every job, there's that logistical piece and that kind of like just boring computer work that you have to get done sometimes, right? So and it's important work that needs to get done. So I would say when it's like a heavy season for me to be on the computer, either scheduling or doing something for students that involves just me being in my office, it's refreshing to go outside and make sure to have face-to-face interactions, because that's ultimately what energizes me on a daily basis.
Okay. And one of the last questions I have, how would you describe your work environment?
I think there's two parts to that question. When I think about my work environment in terms of colleagues and just the school I work at, I'd say it's lovely. I would say that my colleagues and I really do feel all have a vision to make sure that students are succeeding. We all, whenever there's challenges, we talk about them and we kind of brainstorm or just vent and then say, hey, this is why we're here. And then as far as the environment and interactions with students as well, I would say very empowering, very feeling. Obviously there's off days and there's days when the stories of the students just get to me. You know, I'm connected to them, so if something's hurting them, then it hurts me as well. So love being here, and I think it's a blessing to work here every day.
Okay. And wrapping this up, for our viewing audience, what would you like to say to the young adults who, we always talk about, they always talk about teachers, but they never talk about the inner office, the counselor and other jobs like that. So looking at what would you like to say about, or say to the viewing audience, the young adults that will be watching this video? What parting thoughts would you have for them?
I would say that there's a lot that happens outside of the classroom. Sometimes we think like we're in the classroom and we're studying or whatnot, right? But there's a lot that happens outside, and there's a lot of need. So working outside of the classroom is a privilege, I think, because I get to see and brainstorm and do a lot of things outside. If anybody in the audience is interested in education, I definitely say it's a rewarding experience, and it's something that you can definitely achieve regardless of whether you persist. So, well, if you persist, actually. So it's just important to persist and make sure that you achieve your goals regardless of your age, regardless whether you're 17 and trying to figure it out, or if you're 37 and trying to figure it out. Working in education outside of the classroom is amazing.
Thank you so much, and this ends the interview, and thank you. I really appreciate you doing this. It's really an honor for me to interview you, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.